Evening folk, how's it all going? Hopefully you're all having a fantastic evening. Are you hobbying? Are you not hobbying? What are you up to? Let me know. I'd be intrigued and interested to find out what y'all are up to. So this evening I have 3 projects on the go. I have a... hold on. Need to lubricate my voice. So this evening I've got Nightbringer, still working on this guy. Really getting on with the old blending of the hoods. Everything else is pretty much done, got some glyphs to do. Then I can think about basing this guy. I've got a piece that I'm working on as a gift from my dad. And I've also got a engine seer, is it? That I'm working on as a gift for a friend. So yeah, 3 pieces to crack on with this evening. Let's see how far we can get. More metallics, unfortunately. Not my favourite thing to be painting, to be honest. But it is what it is. Pop into the chat if you're about. Say hello. Let me know what you're on with. Right, let's get some of the metallics laid down on this guy. I do have a reference for this guy somewhere. I have kept him around, I think. Just to make sure I know what I'm doing. I was going to go with the gunmetal look on this guy, but you know what? I don't think I will. I think I'll go with the aluminium, and then I'm going to dull it back. But first, as they say, I'm going to paint the most annoying part that I'm most likely to mess up, which is his face. So let's have a look at that, shall we? Let's get the mouse out of the way. And I love this colour. Love this colour. Bone White from Vallejo. This and Dead Flesh. Absolutely mad colours. It's the volume 2. I feel the music's a little bit too loud. Let me know if the music's alright or not compared to my voice. It looks like it should be according to the meters, but who knows? I absolutely do not know. Let's turn the gain up on that. I can't turn the gain on the mic any further up. Right. Let's crack on, shall we? I am a licker. I am definitely a licker. Needs a bit of a better shake-up, does that thing? I do love the Sagittaire. Absolutely the way forward. Let me know which camera you guys prefer, top down or the overhead, whichever. See if we can keep it focused at all times. feel this is going to take a number of thin coats to get anything like a flash coverage, but that's okay. I'm in no rush. In no rush at all. Bring that a little bit further over, just to get some lights. I have sorted some other lights out in here, so it should be a little bit better for when I'm painting. So long as I don't look directly to my left or right now, because if I do, I blind myself. And I'm probably going to blind you guys with my my bald head reflecting all the light. Reflecting, not refracting. That's a totally different thing. My voice is mental today, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. It's been quite a stressful day. Now, what else have we got on here? Aha, he's got fleshy fingers. I hadn't actually noticed that before, so got two places to paint this. I'm a big fan of working in sub-assemblies. So have you all had a good day? Anybody from here in the UK, other than me? Let me know in the old chat. Don't be scared. Pop in, say hello. I don't bite. Well. Right. Let's see if I get any comments about this ridiculous silver that I'm going to slather all over this guy now. Don't worry, it's going to be one of those situations where it 100% will look better. Look worse, sorry, before it looks better. I'm aware of that, I don't mind. Here we go. Some of the old Vallejo aluminium. I love this stuff. This and steel, great. Got an error in the old palette there. Not ideal. See if we can get rid of that. That'll do. It's gone nicely. Right. Is it only me that doesn't like painting metallics? Anybody else feel the same way? I don't know what it is about them, I really do not have fun painting them at all. I think it's just one of those things that I spent so long using not the best metallic paint. Some of the Citadel stuff's alright. One of my favourite Citadel colours is Lead Belcher. So versatile. Also Retribute Rama, great. Unfortunately, I have nothing good to say about any of the other metallics. But, you know, you find what you like, don't you, and you work with that really. And I found Vallejo, and I've never looked back. Don't get me wrong, it's not all a party. They've got some colours that I dislike, some of the metallics that I dislike, but overall I find them much better than any of the others I've tried. Tried some P3 ones as well. Actually gave them away. Didn't like them. But then again, there's some Vallejo stuff that I don't like. A lot of people rave about the Vallejo primers. I am not a fan. 100% not a fan of those. Found it very difficult to work with. Highly annoying. Completely clogged my airbrush up. Not once, not twice, not even thrice, but 4 times. I thought maybe I'm not putting enough pressure through it. Thought I needed to thin them, even though, you know, kind of defeat the object really. But no, it's just the consistency. Like it's almost like a really heavy latex. Yes, I know they are latex based paints for those, but it just didn't work for me. Everybody else that I know swears by them. Well, not everybody else, but like I know a lot of people out there absolutely swear by the Vallejo primers. But yeah, my experience was not the greatest. I'd be interested to try the Stynel Res. That's another one that I hear a lot of great things about. So maybe at some point I'll get the opportunity to try those. We'll see. If anybody's got any experience with the Stynel Res stuff, hit me up in the chat. Let me know. Is it something I should be seeking out? Tell me. Very tempted to pick up the Sisters Codex, see if there's any interesting lore in there. Trying not to buy any more minis though for a while now. Get through my back catalogue or any other associated products. Since I will never be playing Sisters in any way, shape or form, I doubt, I tend to stick to one army, and that for me is Space Marines. If you watch any of my videos, Dark Angels, you'll hear me talk about them a considerable amount. It's what I love. Cannot get enough of them. So what the plan is here is get everything blocked in metallic wise, and then I will vary up the finishes on each of these metallics by applying different washes, different glazes over the top of them. So I could go straight in with the bronze paint or whatever, but I prefer the messier, almost like Blanchetsu kind of style. If you've seen Duncan Rhodes' latest video, he does something similar in terms of technique, where I think he he uses the silver and then washes it back with, funnily enough, Seraphim Sepia, which is what I use. And it does really work. But also I like to put other bits and pieces over the top and really vary it up. You end up with a more subtle variation, something that looks more worn and weathered and real worldy. In my opinion, it's completely subjective, obviously. Your opinion may be different, and that's absolutely fine. Try and pick up the speed of this this base coating a little bit. Right. Almost done with the arms. Totally forgot that this guy is a backpack as well, so I think I'll grab that next and get some work on that done. Right, here we are with the backpack. Should we get this on the painting handle, make it a little bit easier to see for people? Let's have a look at what's on here. Okay, so some type of reactory thing, I don't know. Some MacGuffin. Some MacGuffin that makes it all work, eh? You can say these crazy ad mech. One of my cats coming to say hello, I think. Hello. You weren't prepared for this, were you? No. Yeah. Yep. There we go. Jump straight past the camera. Typical. I've actually been modelling for the past couple of days. No, the past week or so, in fact. A couple of days. It's a lot longer than that. Been getting some of my Raven Wing sorted out. Some bits and pieces I got for Christmas from my parents. Getting those prepped and ready for painting. Done some conversions on them. Don't want mine looking like everybody else's. That ain't how we roll up in here. So we'll be making them look as dark angel-y as possible. So we've got lots of bits and pieces all over them already, and really looking forward to getting cracking on the bikes. To be honest, never actually painted any Raven Wing ever before. At all. Something that I always wanted when I was a kid, but I never felt the old style firstborn bikes were particularly interesting. They just looked clunky, and I recall them being quite expensive as well for what they were. So I never got any, but now, with the Indominus box, I got 3, and then I got some for Christmas. So I think I've either got 6 or 9, and then I will pick up probably another box and just have like a character on one, maybe a medic. I don't know. I don't really know what's good and what's not good. It's not like I play to win anyway, so it doesn't really matter for me. I'll go with whatever looks coolest. But you can say, maybe I'll come up with something that's a little bit more interesting. Maybe I'll put something crazy on a bike. Maybe a watcher. That'd be kind of sweet. On the back of the bike, yeah, with the dark, that'd be cool. Oh, hey Andrea, how are you going? Yeah, I could totally get involved with the watcher in the dark, like on a sissy bar on the back of one of the Raven Wing bike, looking full on Hell's Angel. Oh, is that Hell's Dark Angel? Did you like that? It was a good joke. Nobody's laughing except for me. Story of my life. I'm definitely the funniest person in my own head. I always struggle with putting the first coats of anything on when I don't particularly need to be overly neat and tidy, but I always feel I'm getting judged by people when they see me working like that. It's like, is it a bad influence? I mean, it's efficient, isn't it? That's the main thing. So what you really want to do is get the base colours down. I mean, I could have sprayed this mini, I suppose, but I wanted to retain the reds, return the zenithal highlighting for the reds. I suppose I could have masked it off, but it is what it is. It's a nice way to unwind, I suppose, and get free time after a day in the office. It's almost just like daubing it on. Don't want to go on too thick and then risk obscuring any detail. But you know, there's no point either in spending hours painting overly cautiously for absolutely no reason. You just make work for yourself and cause increased effort, which is not what you want when you've got quite a lot to get through. And that's where I am with things at the moment. I've got quite a lot to get through. So I'm hoping for perhaps next week when I stream. I'm going to try and do a couple of days this week. Definitely be doing Thursday this week as well. So I'll be here pretty much from when I finished eating, so I reckon I'll be on from 6 on Thursday, probably up until about 11. So if anybody wants to come in and join me getting some hobby done, feel free. And then I'm going to try and get some in maybe on Sunday. Saturday's looking like it'll be a write-off hobby-wise. So yeah, I'm going to get at least another day in this week. Another evening, should I say. Which will be good. And what my plan is to get enough work done on all the stuff that I'm currently painting. So get these projects off the desk, finish the Redemptor up, and then I can start painting the bulk of the Dark Angel stuff on camera while I'm working. There we go. Should we get that a little bit quieter? So yeah. Get the Dark Angels sorted, and then the bulk of them I can paint on stream as and when, between other bits and pieces. And then you guys can come along for the ride with me while I'm painting all those bad boys. See what you think. Maybe give me some advice, give me some tips, give me some suggestions. Always greatly received. So long as the suggestion isn't that we're traitors, because we're not. We're absolutely loyalists. And anything else said against it Hello, good evening. So hopefully we'll get through in the next week. What I would like to, in my head, get done is have the Inceptors and the Aggressors pretty much base coated. Everything blocked in would be wondrous. I'm still working on Torgaradon, the Belial conversion. That's going to take me a while. But it's going to be a fun one. I did a little bit of work on it over lunch today. Took 20-minute lunch break, which is unusual for me, to actually do something that's not involved sitting here. And got a little work done on him. And then next up, I will perhaps get the Blade Guard Captain done as well. He's completely converted now, so it's just to base coat really, and that should be all right. Could probably get on with that actually. In fact, yeah, let's do that. Let's get the Blade Guard Captain done next on stream, or one of the things we do on stream. One thing that I've not tested out yet is whether my airbrush will like really interfere with me talking to you guys. I should really watch my streams back, shouldn't I, and see if it comes across too loudly or not. Because I do use the airbrush for a lot of my paint jobs. Right, there we go. Backpack done. Gonna quickly swap minis. Here we are, Nigel the Nightbringer, as I like to call him. Good old Nigel. Bringing the night, the dismay, the dismemberment, all of the D's, to a Necron homeworld, tomb world, sorry, near you. Good old Nigel the Nightbringer, eh? So all I'm doing now is a little bit of edge highlighting, just to bring out this scythe, scythe, whatever he has. I don't want to go over the top with it, to be honest, in terms of detail. I'm really going to keep the base quite simple as well. I've seen some pretty stonking paint jobs on this guy, to be honest. And I'm sure mine won't be one of the ones that you see out there, but I'd like to do something that's at least a little bit fitting. I don't know, it's such a simplistic figure, and it's just exciting how you can let your imagination run wild, run rampant with something that's so open to interpretation. Again, all I'm going to do here is kind of give a hint of a sharp part to the sickle, and then as I work on it later on, that'll almost completely all disappear, and I'll just pare it back a little bit, going with some pretty heavy weathering, I would think. Maybe some blood. Who knows? Who knows? Just adds a little bit something to it. I don't know if you can. Just gives it that like little. But it definitely needs bringing back a little bit now. It's too far. It's gone too far the other way. Right. Right. Main event time. So thirsty. So what are you guys in the chat on with? on anything interesting, hobbying yourselves, doing any painting, any type of gaming going on? If not, why not? That's the question. Right. Now, this is where I need to be a little bit more careful. A little bit more selective in what I'm doing. So... let's thin this down a little bit. And just get in there, really. It's always that first stroke on a new freshly primed minute is somewhat intimidating, I find. Anybody else find that? Is it just me? Probably just me, isn't it, really? Being a little bit weird. Well, what's weird, eh? Who's to say? It takes all sorts, doesn't it? I think it does. Oh, this colour is so crispy. It's just, the coverage on it's insane. Oops. Oopsie. Oh well, that part will get painted over shortly. Trying to keep one eye on the chat. It's not particularly busy in that night, so I'm just going to crack on with the painting. Just crack on. Ah, right, okay, so Shaz has asked a really interesting question there. As a hobby painter, do you want to paint at home, or would you be willing to go to a shop or club and paint? Yes, I would, actually. I was talking about this quite recently with a friend, and I would definitely go somewhere and paint. I'm actually more likely and more interested in going somewhere to paint than I am to play games, if I'm absolutely honest. That's only because the way that I tend to play games is less casual and more of an ongoing situation. I tend to have like quite a close relationship with the people that I game with, like with the kill team stuff. The chap that I play online with on TTS. That just wouldn't work in a casual or semi-casual environment. It's all about kind of understanding each other's preferences and story, army, all of these other things. So yeah, I would definitely be interested in going places and painting. If anything, just to get me out of the house, because I don't do that often. That's a really good question. Do you know anywhere that does that? Are there any places? I know you can go to Games Workshop and do it, but I don't know. There's something about Games Workshop still. I'm not sure I'm the target audience for going into the actual store and painting. And I guess I'm quite nervous as well to go and paint around other people. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if my anxiety would cope. Maybe people would think I was a bad painter, or I was doing it wrong, and I'd get into some type of arguments with people. See, I'm already trying to talk myself out of it now. This is bad, isn't it? Right, how's that looking? It's looking very shiny. Very shiny indeed. No, no, please. If you got somewhere in mind, go on, spit it out. I'm intrigued. Is it the local gaming club? Is that also do painting down here? That would be good. Perhaps to meet some other people. I don't know. I don't know if I'm like an average gamer, war gamer, I don't know whatever the nomenclature is for such things. I don't even know if there is one. That'd be interesting. I should actually find that out, I feel, shouldn't I, really, considering I am part of the community. Is it just wargamer? I don't feel that that's an adequate description of myself personally. I won't say I'm a wargamer ad anonymum. I would think I prefer the term narrative gamer. I think. No, please do go ahead and mention if you want. Very warm this evening up here. Not helping that my printer's kicking out some more bits for me Dark Angels. It'll come as no surprise to anybody. I'm loving on this chap how he's got like part of a cog coming out of his head. I hadn't actually noticed that before. That's a fantastic little detail there. Gonna have to give the old brush a clean in a second, I think. I had to just catch myself there before I started sticking my tongue out. Last thing I want is to become a meme. I do already get mocked for licking my brush all the time. I don't care. Just check a look in the so you're from Bradford. This is up in the chat. And you're in a gaming group. Ah, Bradford Gaming Society. I have indeed heard of the Bradford Gaming Society. Yes. Ah, right. So did they have painting sessions up at the Old Geek to Me then as well? I've never actually been in. I spoke to the guy quite recently when I was after a product, and I phoned to see if they stocked it. Unfortunately, they didn't, because it was sold out everywhere. But oh well, oh well. It would have only been something else for me to paint that I didn't have the time to paint, so I'm not that bothered. So did they do? Aha! I am indeed. I have a T-shirt that attests to the fact that I am indeed a licker. Tell me, do they do they actually do painting sessions up at It's All Geek to Me then? Like, you know, come along and paint with other folk. Do you have to take your own paints? How does that work? Tell me. What's that like? Let me know how it goes. I'm intrigued. I've never been to one. I feel I should go there now. Oh, nearly put my brush in the wrong pot there. Nearly went into the non-metallic paint water. Close, guys. Close. Okay, so we're almost done, I think, with the silver base coats. Ah, no, I did it. I just did it again. Crikey. What's wrong with me? So, I'll get this silver on and then I'm going to come back and hit it with the gold. Bit of Retributor armor on there. And then I will then I'm going to get the reds done. Just the reds based, and then get involved with some washing. Might even get the pouches done as well. Isn't all water metallic? Ah, interesting, so you need to take your own paints around. Okay. Yeah, I suppose if I've got something very specific to work on, that'd be alright. I keep thinking maybe having like an old school style LAN party, but just for painting around at my house, like a paint barbecue or something, but that may be a little bit too social for me, I don't know. Gonna have to clean up this face a little bit, I think. It's odd, but I do like the taste of Vallejo paints. Ooh. Nearly used the non-metallic water. It's becoming something of a habit, is that, isn't it? It's amazing how just painting just one detail on a minute can seem to take forever, and then you can sometimes smash through like 10 of them just doing the same colour without messing up anywhere. Right. Any more on the metallics on that? I don't think there is. But what I am going to do is go back in I have some flesh colour up here on the old wet palette. I'm going to take some of that sexy flesh colour. Going to mix in a little bit of what I had earlier, which was the bone white. Really going to water that down. And then hit the face again. Had to do one of those breathing things to get to the the small detail then without going anywhere that I didn't want to go. I'm in two minds. I might just go straight in with the sepia, to be honest. What shall we do? What do you reckon? I reckon we should. Right, okay. Okay, that's that done. Right. Now. Get a bit of brush up on there, the old masters. My throat is absolutely going. How's the camera going, by the way? Anybody in the chat? Is this top cam working alright, or shall I switch them around? If there's anything you do want to see, let me know and I'll swap the cameras around should needs be. Right, okay. What shall I paint on? I'm going to start with the backpack. May switch up to a little bit of a fatter brush as well. Medium layer it is. Okay. Right, let's get a bit of that on the palette. A bit of a puddle. Right, okay, so brush loaded up. Let's see if we can see. Let's see if we can focus that a little bit more. Boom. Happy focus time. Right, and let's just splodge it on. I do love this wash, shade, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's easy to go in with just a bit of null oil. But this gives it a much more greasy finish to it. I think greasy looking, I should say, greasy looking finish to it. And bearing in mind, we're nowhere near finished at all. So if you're just popping onto the stream, Don't think I'm doing completely mad things. I'm not at all. But it's part of the process. Trust the system. Oh, plastic cutters. Oh, you just broke your other rafts, eh? So, that doesn't sound good. To be honest, I don't think there's that many that rival GW's plastic cutters. They're obscenely expensive. However, I did invest in a pair. I grabbed them from Alchemist's Workshop. They're a little bit cheaper. But they are like the best clippers. The quality of them, like how close you can get and how clean they snip, is insane. I was using like a pair like this before, just a standard crap pair. I can't show you my GW ones. They're downstairs at the moment, but they're just so precise snippers. I really recommend them, but they run about 30 quid. They are not cheap. Also, the Army Painter ones are apparently really good. How did you break his snippers? What are you working on? Or her snippers? Not to be presumptuous. Let me know. Hopefully you wasn't cutting anything too mental. Okay, almost done with the backpack. Wondrous. That just needs a little bit more to make it a little bit more see the problem with shades, and this is something I really struggle with as well, I know quite a few people do, is finding the right amount to put on so that you get the pooling, the shading effect, but yeah, so the Army Painter ones. Oh, spruce for a pegboard. Wow, wow. That's an interesting one. I would strongly recommend maybe using some cheaper clippers for stuff like that, and keeping the good clippers for the minis. Sounds like you owe your other half a new set of clippers. Yeah, the Army Painter ones are a decent set. Another cat hair. Got spray paint all over my fingers. Ugh. I'm getting far too involved in the music right then. So, still using the Seraphim Tapia. Getting into all nooks and crannies of this engine here. And I really should stop spending way too much time doing stuff that really doesn't need a lot of time spent on it, should I? So here we are, just plodding through it. And I will come back, fix up any problems later on. So this is actually going to get another coat of this once it's dry. But you see what I mean about it giving that, it's like a richer, more warm, glowing, kind of, not gold, but not bronze. Right, so I'm just going to hit all this with it as well. Then, as this is drying, I will hit the Plague Lord with the Reichland Flesh Shade, and then I'll come back onto this, get the brown parts that I want to get done, based, and then maybe that pipe as well. Maybe I'll get that pipe sorted out. And then we'll go from there. Maybe we get on some of the red this evening. I'm hoping so. We've got a while yet. I'm going to be on stream for a bit. So I have got a massive headache though. I've had a headache all day. It's a very stressful day. Very stressful day indeed. Do you ever have one of those where you're looking forward to doing your hobby or whatever it is at the end of the day that you want to do, get a bit of time to do once you've done all your chores and hung out with your other halves, whatever, and then you just don't really want to do anything when you get the time to do it. I had to force myself to come and paint this evening, because if I didn't, I think I'd get into a lapse and a lull at the moment, and I don't want that. I want to kind of keep my hobby streak going. If I don't, then sometimes I could, well, previously I was going for weeks at a time without making any progress, and that's why you end up with massive piles of shame, I think, isn't it? You know, you keep buying stuff and you're not actually in the mood to paint stuff or play anything, so there's that whole FOMO situation, the fear of missing out, which is an awful, awful way of running businesses. But G-dubs do enjoy, seemingly, the old FOMO situation. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. But, you know, it works on me as well. The amount of stuff I've bought just because, oh my god, it's limited edition, I need it. What if I don't have it? What am I going to do? My life would be over if I didn't have that Greebly. There we go. See, straight away, I'm not sure if this shows on the camera particularly well. Yeah. I do need to figure out how to get another camera over my shoulder while plugged in. I can do it. I can do it. Maybe I'll do that for next stream, guys. I'll go for the old 4K situation. There we go. Right, okay. That's done, that's done, that's done. I'm going to slather the base in some of this as well. Oh, not all of it. not all of this, but some of it. This will be getting severely weathered. I can't remember where I got this base from. I think it was from a Kickstarter. But it works really well for AdMech, in my opinion anyway. So I used it. I did indeed just use it. Right, okay. That's all done there. Right, so what are we on with now? Next up is going to be some Reichland Flesh Shade and some Null Oil, which I have not picked up. So I will have to quickly step away and grab my Null Oil. It'd be interesting to know from anybody that's chatting in the chat or watches this afterwards, leave me a comment. What do you guys prefer watching? Would you prefer to see somebody paint something from the beginning of a project, or would you like to see them do the more intricate, detailed work only, and kind of you come into the stream and that's already done? Let me know. I'd be really interested on that one. Okay, picked up a couple of paints. My Null Oil is almost at the end of its life. So, and some sexy Drakenhof Nightshade. I don't know why it's sexy, it just is. I'm just going to use it to bring a little bit of colour to this this base, to be honest. It is quite a strong shade, is this though, so I mean it doesn't really matter. It's like I say, it's going to be getting weathered and knocked back. But it just brings a little bit more interest to something that can be quite dull and boring, I suppose. Just like run into the recesses as you would standard. Just don't be too precious about where it goes. Just get smashed out, really. Let me mix together with what we've already got there. They do what it wants, really. It's going to have a good time. Oh, interesting, from the beginning. See, I would have thought it'd be the other way around. That's really interesting. Interesting bit of feedback there, Shaz. Thank you. The null Noil, right. Let me decide if we want to go with the black first, or... Right, let's go with the black first. So on this gentleman, we have quite a lot of this silver. Gonna get some of this on here and just thin it down just a tad. Be interesting to see what type of base we can do for this chap as well, won't it? I always struggle with Nurgle bases. I never really know what to do. I tend to just go with mud and like a slime pool kind of situation. But I want to do something a little bit different on this one. Any ideas? Especially as this one's going to be given as a gift. Maybe a small diorama base. I mean, it's not like my dad will care anyway, but maybe I'll take the opportunity to do something different. My parents are sorting their modernising their living room at the moment, and they're going to have some display space, so I thought, well, maybe I could do something for them. One for Ma and one for Pa. Put them in like a nice little bell jar and have it done. Hopefully I'll get it finished in time for Father's Day, but it's not looking likely. It's not looking likely at the moment. But you know, stranger things have happened. Okay, that's done. Now, all the brown on this this wood I'm going to hit with the black as well. I really want the wood to be quite contrasty against the skin. I'm unsure about how to paint rotten wood. I do want it to look rotten and like ugh, nasty, to go with the whole plaguish theme that Nurgle have running for them. The more I think about it, maybe this is not something I should give to my dad. He's gonna, knowing my dad, he'll think I'm having a go at him or something if I give him something that's not something that, I mean, I collect them. I think these are cool. So, through extrapolation, being my father's son, I would have thought my dad would think it cool. I don't know if my dad thinks anything is cool, to be honest, but we'll find out when I give it to him. But either way, I'm having fun painting it, so that's the takeaway, isn't it? Doesn't matter what you do, so long as you enjoy it. In fact, I actually prefer to paint for other people than for myself. I find I try harder when I'm painting stuff for other people, and I tend to be happier with the results. Do you guys find that? I gave quite a lot of painted minis for gifts this year, Christmas. Not too much of a fan of the idea of commission painting though. I've dabbled in the past. But it's not something that I would want to do long term, I don't think. Maybe if it was a couple of really interesting minis that I wanted to paint really badly. But I don't think I could do it for like people commission painting entire armies. No, thank you. 100% does not appeal. Thanks. Shaz in the chat says she thinks my dad will like it because I've put time and effort into it. I hope so. It's always been something I've kind of liked the idea of, is like playing a game with my dad, like an ongoing game. But he's just not the type. I've played chess with him and stuff, but not like a proper war game. He's not the fun type in my dad. He's a bit more serious, unless a game was DIY based or cleaning his car or something. I don't think he'd be particularly interested in playing Warhammer or good like that. 100% certainly not something I will be carrying on tradition wise. In fact, when the child arrives, I will almost certainly be bugging it to play games with me. It's like imagination's an important part of life, innit? I think as well as because I grew up an only child, I've got quite a good imagination. It's probably why I like D&D so much and stuff. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Thank you. Much appreciate that. So my conversation's not been fantastic this evening, has it, as I've been painting? My mind's on a million other things at the moment. Need to get some typhus corrosion going on here as well. Some effect paints. Okay, so that's all the black washed, is it? Let's see if the old Where's he gone? Ah, I've got so many bits and pieces on my desk. Right. So I'm just going to paint a little bit of Nuln Oil on some parts of the old engines here. Now what this will do is, it will really darken up some of the recesses, obviously. But it'll also, where we've stained things that Seraphim sepia tone, and it's given us that nice, warm, brassy look, it'll also like take things back and make it look a little bit like grungy metallic-y. So I don't want to hit everywhere, I'm just being very selective, hitting the places where there may be perhaps oil seeping out. So the joints are a good place to put something like this, where they'd have lubrication. Absolutely something that people don't need to do. And you could, absolutely you could paint these details by hand. And in previous times, that's exactly what I've done. However, one of the good things about age is hindsight, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. You look back and you think, what was I doing when I was young and naive? Painting things in that way? It's just no. Now I am doing it in the most efficient way possible, and then spending my time where the biggest gains are to be had. I do enjoy painting with washes quite a lot. I do it a considerable amount. It's probably the thing I do most. I paint generally when I'm painting to a higher standard. So doing something for a specific character, perhaps, or a display piece, then I will paint in what you might consider two thinner layers, sorry, rather than two. And I like to build things up very, very gradually. Now, obviously, that is a time-consuming technique. However, in terms of enjoyment for myself of the process of painting, absolutely where it's at for me. I find it very, very rewarding to paint in that manner. And it's an odd one, really, isn't it? It's like, why would you want to spend more time than you absolutely need to do that? But I find it suits me down to the ground. The nice thing about it as well, or one of the other nice things about it, is all that work we did with the pre-shading and the zenithal highlighting, that's retained. And it just shows through. And that's absolutely what you want, isn't it? You know, if you can utilise that work, why wouldn't you? One of the things that I don't understand as well, and this is a mentality that I've come across, not often, but certainly more than I would have expected is that there's a perception by some folks, this seems to be more common overseas than it is in England and Europe, that using an airbrush in some way is cheating or easier than painting in the Citadel style, for example, or, you know, painting something traditionally. I mean, I use a mix of airbrush and brush, and I don't think there's anything easy about using an airbrush, if I'm absolutely honest. It took me ages to get to where I am with the airbrush, and I suck. So yeah, that perception is just weird to me. So yeah, we kept all that pre-shading in there, that highlighting. Once that's dry, that will look alright, I think. Next up, I'm just going to hit some parts of the axe, so the blade, obviously. Just a lot down there. That's going to take some really subtle effects later. Part of me wanted to make it a glowing blade, but I just don't think it'd have worked on this particular model, which is a pity, but oh well. Now let's see if we can knock back some of the other bits and pieces, make it look like a different sort of metallic. It's like these gauntlets, for instance. Might take a couple of coats, but we've always got that underlying richness of that original Vallejo aluminium we put through. And that really, really, really helps to sell it. It just comes through so strong and vibrant that you can really get away with a multitude of sins. I'm just going to hit with a little bit of black just to pop the scars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a little bit of terracotta into that later on. And same with this, it's going to be black is the middle part, and then maybe some like a terracotta red with just some really bright highlights. But what that black's doing is it's bringing it all together. Bringing it all together indeed. And just look at how those colours now, it doesn't come across great on the camera unfortunately, but if you see it there just at an angle, it's tied them all together, they've got something in common, and it doesn't look like section, it's all playing together. Right, okay, let's get onto the main event then, shall we? Okay then. It's been a little bit quieter in the chat this time. Maybe Saturday mornings are better for me. But I'm not going to stop doing it. So, whatever. Right, here we go then. So, I'm thinking perhaps these knee pads, or whatever they're called, could be a little bit of a different tone. So just going to paint that shade on quite carefully, and these pistons as well. Let's do that. There we are. Straight down into the bottom of the leg. And what that's doing as well is that's giving the shades running into the recess there, so it's giving that nice contrasty shadow. It's absolutely doing what it's supposed to be doing, giving us that lovely high contrast, low effort situation. Just going to tease the tip of his shoe with a bit of the shade. And just on the inside of his gown there, I'm just going to cheekily put the brush under his gown and just attack him from the underside, as it were. I'm sure he won't mind. He seems like a very woke gentleman. So we're going to do the same thing just on this spot. And what's probably going to happen as we finish up the mini further down the road is that we will have him tied to the base in some way. So I don't know whether that'll be a carryover colour, or perhaps some pigment, some weathering pigment in there to bring the base and him all together. Certainly a possibility. Or perhaps it will be a light source. So the way that I tackle something like that is I will finish, almost 100% finish the mini with all of the colours I would normally use to paint it, as if there was no light source there, and then I will paint the light source. Now that's probably not the best way to do it, and there are some amazing painters out there that paint in a totally different way, but that's my method of it. Why do I do it like that? Well, that's a really good question, and the logic for myself is it's quite simple. So by doing it that way, any OSL that I put on top of that, so any colour playing with that other colour, interacting with it, is going to interact much more naturally, in my opinion, with the additional colours underneath it. So let's say we've got a red cloak and a orange light source glowing on it. No, that's a bad example. Let's say we've got a red cloak and a blue light source glowing on it. You'd end up with more purple, I suppose. You know, that red is going to absorb some of the blue light. And that's how I would do it. I know you could just paint purple highlight straight onto it, but for me, I find the way that I do it a little bit more, I don't know, it just fits with my methodology, my approach to painting a little bit better. And that's part of the hobby, isn't it? It's finding those things that work for you, not against you. And that's part of the fun. It's part of the hobby, discovering what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And, you know, there is no right and wrong at the end of the day. It's whatever works for you and works for your situation. And I'd strongly encourage you to do that. too many people telling too many other people how not to do things. There we go. So we've got a couple of different tones now on this metal. Don't forget we are going to come back in with the highlights and such later on. But right now, I think we're in a pretty good position with it, to be honest. So I think the last thing I'm going to do before we get to the red robe parts, because that's where the largest amount of time is, I'm just going to run some of the black wash into these fine details here around the Mechanicus symbol. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to not worry when I'm painting the red that I'm going to have to come in afterwards and pick out any details there. To get like a high contrast, because we'll already have got the darkest possible shadow, black, exactly where we wanted it. There we are. I think we're really getting there with it now. I'm quite happy with the progress we've made on this evening. Right, let's get the brown done. Just based for the pouches. And I think we'll get the first coat of the red on. I think we're in a good place to leave it there then for this evening, to be honest. Made some good progress. And I'm happy with that. Oh no, we've got another shade to do, haven't we? We said we were going to do the gold on the plague champion. Silly me. Silly me. Let me grab my stuff. Ryclin Flesh Shade. So I alternate between using Ryclin Flesh Shade and Guilliman Flesh for going over the golds. However, in this instance, I'm definitely going to be using Ryclin Flesh Shade. Why? Because this will ultimately end up being a weathered, worn piece of armour. It's going to have some verdigris on there, it's going to have some pitting, it's going to have some rust and corrosion, and I think the Typhus, the Ryclin Flesh Shade gives it that more aged look compared to the technique we've been using otherwise. Now the other question we've got is, what colour shall we do the loincloth on this guy? I'm going to say I'm leaning towards, and let me know what you think in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this afterwards. I'm leaning towards a green, a really dark green. So the reason for that is twofold. A, I like painting green, and B, as you well know, this is a Nurgle mini, and Nurgle is synonymous with the colour green, so why not? And we don't want to detract from the face, where the majority of the attention is going to be, because that's where we're going to have the OSL coming from, that eye in the middle of his head. So by having a nice dark dull colour, we're not going to draw the user. Wow, my day job is coming into effect right there. We're not going to draw the viewer's attention too far astray. A dark blue could also work perhaps, but there's not the relationship with Nurgle there, or not one that I'm aware of. Do let me know down in the comments as always, or in the chat if you're still here now, if there is some blue relevance to Nurgle. I would be genuinely interested to find out about that, because I don't know if there is. I don't believe there is. Perhaps with one of the Space Marine legions. I want to say the Pallid Hands are some type of blue. But that may be just me getting them mixed up. Let me know. Let me know. I'd be super interested in that. Let's get a bit of shade in there. And so what I'm going to do is also just take a little bit of this Ripon Flesh shade, and I'm just going to bring it into the corners, some of the more exposed bits. So all this is doing is it's darkening it down a little bit. When it dries, it's going to give us that even deeper shadow, and it's another variation in tone. It's making it more interesting to look at. Just gives it a little bit more realism. This is not complicated at all. We're not doing anything hard here. Nothing hard whatsoever. We're just filling in the colours, really, aren't we? Just letting the paint run off of his brush to exactly where it wants to go. Could not be easier, couldn't this? It's such a simple way of painting. And I do like it. It's almost like all the hard work is done from the zenithal. Right at the beginning, that first bit of preparatory work that you do. And that makes it such a rewarding method. Okay. Oh, let's just hit his arms quickly and the backpack, which I totally forgot about. Two massive pieces. Right, so I'm just literally just going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to run some in his fingers, just between them, just to give it some more definition, and then just dragging it up, lifting the brush backwards, just pulling it up, letting the shade. Look at that! Letting the shade do its work. Just boom, straight into the deepest parts. Off the bristles of the brush. There we are. It's doing its job. Absolutely perfect like that. That's exactly what we wanted it to do. Perhaps put some in there. Since we're going to paint it red anyway, we might as well save ourselves some work, haven't we? See, it's already going some of the way towards the red. Painting smarter. Maybe that all we have to do is a very, very light overbrush of red onto that, or terracotta, I think we said we were going to use, didn't we? I like that. I like where it's going. I'm excited for this. Okay, so same thing again here. Just going to attack the lower parts of this. So the parts that will be naturally hidden from the light. So we're assuming, as we have before, the light is coming directly down. See, so I'm going upwards, letting the shade come off the brush, just where it would. Any recesses, any deep recesses, just run a bit in there. Not too much. Don't want to go over the top with it. Probably come back with that, with another colour into that cloth. Around these rivets, getting those, and it just gives that grimy, built up, patina, sort of worn, weathered, purposeful look to what it is. Just not having that one boring colour. And we've really not painted anything at all at this point, have we? I mean, all we've done is we've run some colour. I mean, this is like painting that your mum could do. Nothing complicated, no hard techniques at all, and it's looking all right. Once it's dried, I think it's going to look really good. And I'm kind of wondering if it needs just a solid black on this generator. Thinking like a really dark grey, and then a solid black perhaps for the Mechanicus skull motif. Now I'm just running some of the shade over the servo skull, because why not? Dare I say, why not? And that's done the job nicely. Right, okay. We are now, I believe, done with the shading of the red. Hey! So, somebody else popped up in the chat. Teutons D, am I pronouncing that right? Do I always part assemble and then paint? Yes, I paint almost everything in sub-assemblies. If you watch the video from a couple of weeks ago on my main channel, you'll see me putting together the sub-assemblies for this guy. And I've got a video coming out this Saturday where I'm putting together sub-assemblies for the intercessors I painted in last week's video. So if you're interested in sub-assemblies, give that a watch and watch out for the new video coming in Saturday. Right, okay. So, 2D said he paints on the sprue and then cutting and sticking, but it's always time consuming and my lines don't fit. But fully assembled, I can never get bloody blush. Yes, so I personally, I wouldn't paint anything on the sprue, with the exception of, I do it with a couple of things, so let me tell you about that. I can actually show you an example of something that I would paint on the sprue. So these are a selection of bases that I use for my Dark Angels at the moment. So these are painted on sprue. These aren't completed, so I take these as like a foundation for one to put the minis on, and then I tie them all together with bits of foliage, some weathering pigments, but I paint these on the sprue because it's just easier. I also do it with a couple of other products, so I think there's Barbed Bracken and Creeping Vines from Games Workshop. Again, I use these on the bases to kind of have consistency across all of my bases. And because I do a lot of it with airbrush, it's just easy to paint those on the sprue. As for an actual model kit on the sprue, other than parts of larger vehicles, so like the grav plates on some Space Marine tanks, I would maybe paint on a clipped sprue, but it's not something that I would do a lot, to be honest, mate. Sub-assemblies, all day, every day for me, to be honest. But that's interesting that you would do so much on the sprue. You're not the first person that said this to me. I've got a friend who also, a friend's friend, sorry, he's not my friend, that does it. I find it quite an odd concept to do that. Maybe I'll try it one day, but I'm not convinced. What models have you been painting then? Green felt, wow, that is old school. Certainly not to my taste, but whatever floats your boat. I know people do like that. Right, the browns. Let's get these browns done, and are we going to have enough? That's the wonderful thing about a wet palette. I've had this brown paint on here for like 2 weeks now, and it's still usable. Oh, okay. Okay, I can see what you mean about that, if that's an issue. Oh, sorry, I didn't realise that focus. Right, so it's an interesting concept. Definitely not one for me, but each to their own. I am a big fan of sub-assemblies. I do have a friend that paints everything completely built, which I just do not understand how he manages it. But, you know, again, whatever floats your boat. If we're all the same, it'd be a very boring world, wouldn't it? So let's have a chat about this red that we're going to tackle next. I'm going to do something different to what I normally do. So let me tell you, counter to what other people do when they're painting reds, I paint like everything else and tend to start darkest colour first. However, with this one, I'm going to start with the mid-tone red, and then I'm going to paint in the shadows, and then I'm also going to paint in the highlights. I hate painting in highlights for red. Hate it. I don't mind a small amount, but a large amount I would say I possibly prefer kick sport over painting a highlight on red. Hey Matt, how's it going? Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah, fully assembled. I'm currently assembling some Inceptors, Aggressors, and some what they call Outriders that I have been converting to Ravenwing. So I build everything up with blue tack, figure out where my sub-assemblies need to be and what those sub-assemblies are going to look like, and then I prime everything, usually assembled with blue tack, and then I paint the sub-assemblies, and I tend to batch paint whatever it is. So if it's a squad of 10 Marines as an example, I will paint them into lots of 5s with sub-assemblies. And from Marines, like I say, this week's video coming up next Saturday, or this Saturday, whichever way you want to look at it. I think for those Marines, unless their arms obscuring the chest in some way, I'll keep the arms on. I tend to leave the shoulder pads off, just because it makes things a little bit easier. The backpack I paint separate. The heads I paint separate. And like say, if their arms are crossing the chest or anything like that, I will also paint those separately. Okay. So that is the brown base. Happy times. Let us proceed to the reds, shall we? Right. Let's have a look how this is going to work. So the interior of it is going to be a different colour. In fact, I'm going to get that different colour now. Just in case. I've got more paints on my desk than I am used to. Try to keep the amount of paints on my desk to a minimum. I find it very stressful. Hello, welcome back, Shaz. Hope you're okay. Thank you for coming back. Always a pleasure to have you here. So I'm using Vallejo Model Air Red. So, here we are then. Gonna thin it down a little bit. Duncan would be proud. And just going to lay down some thin coats. How's everybody's evening gone then? Is it been good? Have you all had an enjoyable evening? I know some of you have been here for a while. It's always been, it's always a pleasure, not past tense. Always a pleasure to see people, whether I know you or not. Always interesting to know what people are working on. So certainly asked if I do commissions. I talked about this earlier actually. I've done commissions in the past, however, these days I've turned them down unfortunately. I've got way too much of my own stuff to paint. I've got several years worth of plastic to paint, so yeah. As much as I appreciate the inquiry, I don't do commissions currently, unless it be something that would be really, really fun. And it would have to be like probably a Dark Angel. Unsurprisingly to anybody that knows me. Ah, wait, what did you find to paint, Charles? Some Katachans, Matt Kent's finishing up. Aha, will you be picking up the new Katachans by any chance? Are the new Katachans, or did I make this up? Just got to rehydrate my wet palette. I'm going to have to change the membrane. Not being too careful on the back here, it's going to be covered up with a backpack anyway, but you know. Start as you mean to go on. So I think it's going to need... Oh no. Oh no. Disaster struck. Aha! I did not realise. That's good to know. Yes, I was saying earlier that perhaps I will come on down and visit the old Bradford Game Club, since I've never actually been. How's the music level, guys? Is it too loud, or is it all right at the moment? I'm just very conscious. Yeah, Matt. You know what? I'm not a fan of Guard at all. I'm going to paint the new dude that's come out as a gift for a friend. Gaunt. Because the sculpt actually looks like my friend. And I think that'd be quite nice. Quite a nice thing to give him as a gift. So that shall be done, but other than that, I have no interest in painting any Imperial Guard ever. I painted the Traitor Guardsman in the Blackstone Fortress box last year, and it was just a slog for me. I don't know what it is. Oh man, I mean, I could talk at length about why I don't like them, but I know everybody else seems to love Guard. However, I am. Oh. What about now? Is music coming through now? Should have been able to hear music. My bad. Yeah, there's just certain things I think that people don't like painting in there. For me, it's Guard. I have no real love for them at all. I don't find them interesting. I don't like how they look. So, yeah, never really bothered. I'm not a tank person, so. Yeah, that's fair enough. If you're painting to play, that is totally different. And to be fair, that's what it was with me and the Blackstone Fortress stuff. I was painting to play the game. And I got them done, and I enjoy playing the game. And from that, I never want to paint any of them again. Unless they come out with something really, really good that I am actually interested in. That doesn't look goofy. But who knows? I've been wrong before. Oh wow, so Tuts and D, you've got 100 Guard and Acolytes to paint. Wow. Yeah, I'm currently working on a Dark Angels project, and I started off with, I'm basically painting the entire company. And Brent over at Goobertown Hobbies picked the first 5 things that I'll be painting, and I had 154 of them. That's actually increased now, so yeah, I've got quite a lot of Dark Angels to paint, all Primaris. Each one of them is converted as well, so it's going to be no out of the box minis at all. It's going to take me a while, but you know, it keeps me off the streets and out my wife's hair. So, you know, it's good. I've been collecting them over the past couple of years with this project in mind, and luckily I've got some great people that are working with me as well. So the guys over at Spellcrow are helping me out with some bits and pieces for scenery as well, for a a project that I can't say too much about yet that's coming up, which is to do with said Dark Angels. So if that sounds of it like it might be of interest to you, do make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out the videos as they're coming. Spellcrow have been very kind in what they've sent me across to have a look at and given me access to. And hopefully Goobs is going to be back choosing some more things for me to paint. Be absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that'll be great. Trying to get some more hobby YouTubers to pick out some minis for me, rather than just painting what I feel like, because otherwise then the stuff that I don't feel like painting will never get done, will it? So I'll check the chat in a moment, guys. Just want to get like this down so there's not too much variation in colour, even though it is going to need a second coat. And then happy glazing time. So we're coming to the end of this now, and then I think that maybe perhaps where I'll leave it for this evening. But we'll see in a minute. We'll see. Stranger things have happened. I was saying for several hours last week when I was streaming that I was only going to be streaming for another couple of minutes, and it was another couple of hours. So, you know, don't take me at face value when I'm talking about this. I'm only going to do this bit and that bit. Because as you well know, there is always more to paint. It's going to be interesting painting the cog motif. So I want this guy to kind of match my friend's army, but also I want it to be a little bit unique, a little bit stand out. I don't know if these guys are any good, to be honest. I don't think they're any good. But it's for him to play kill team with me. He's got an Admech army he's been painting for a while. I say army, kill team. Wow, lots of things happened there. The rule, Matt's the rule, what's really interested you? Yeah, I'm the other way around here. I'm not too interested in the actual game itself. I'm more interested in the lore and painting. I only really play kill team and not interested in playing full fat 40k. So that's just me though. And I play narrative. I'm not bothered about winning. I'm not bothered about points costs or which is the best unit statistically. If I when I get to that level, I need to be playing a story. I need to have a reason. I can't just roll a dice and be like, ah, yeah, that's 3 hits on this. I need to be telling the story as I'm playing with people. think we're almost getting there. Almost getting there with it. That red's coming out alright, I think. I definitely need to change the substrate on my wet palette. I'm running out of space. Might have to go back to the XL wet palette. Well, it's fitting on the desk, I find. Can be...
Sorry, I didn't find a device named Desk Light.
That's nice. Thanks for that, Alexa.
You're welcome.
No worries. No, you're welcome. Okay. So, let's get the red parts painted in here, shall we? It's been a very pleasant evening hanging out with you guys. I hope you've all made some good hobby progress. If not, why not? Why haven't you made the progress? Why have you been procrastinating? What's stopping you? What's holding you back from making it? Okay, so the red, I believe, guys, is pretty much done. Well, base coated anyway. We know where we're going to put the highlights from said base coat. Choosing models counts. I think so. So, I'm very, very tempted to use pink for the glowing eye. There we are, that's looking better, I think. I think it is. Let's get a little bit more red. Just a little bit of higher saturation here. Just on the hood as it's coming into the face. Leading the eye up the mini to the part we want. Now, let's be daring. Let's grab a little bit of this white on here and let's really, really thin it down. That's a naughty white right there, guys. Filthy. Filthy, dirty white. Polluted with a little bit of the pink. Now, let's back of the end it. Get a nice, yeah, oof, oof, there we go, look at that, is a fine line, a sexy, sexy fine line. Now, let us just see if we can, this is, I shouldn't be using a Citadel brush for this. Straight in on this lens here. It's 2 for 2. 2 for 2, right, right. Careful, careful. Okay, okay, there we go. We dotted the eye. Now, let's see if we can't get gonna have to put a bit of fresh white on for this. Okay, here we are. A little bit of white. Nice and crispy, creamy, fresh. I just want to bring these lenses out a little bit, and I'm going to do that by first base coating them with the white, and then I'm going to hit them with pink, I think, and I'm just going to very roughly work on the AdMech logo, insignia, whatever it's called, on this gentleman's chest. So, bracing my hands, and this is the most annoying thing to paint. Certainly not one that I can talk a lot while I'm doing. This is one of those times, guys, where being as gentle and precise as you possibly can really does pay dividends. So what we could do is, if we're painting it as G-Dubs was Ava's paint, we could just come back in with, I'm guessing, a Baden Black or whatever black he'd based it with. But because we've actually used a wash to get that logo nice and contrasty, it's got that subtlety of the undershading and the highlighting that we did right back at the beginning. So if you mess up, it ain't gonna be easy. Shaz said she's got the painting sorted for the next club meet. That's good. I am very happy for you. So this is just now a case of very, very carefully building up the saturation of the white. And what you don't want to do, or what maybe you want to do it, certainly what I don't want to do is go into the deepest recesses with the white. Why don't I want to do that? I want a nice little separation. Oh, we can't see there. Can't see, sorry, it's off camera. I am failing at this. Let's see if we can get that focused. There we go. See, so right up at the top here, you see how we've got like a nice little shadow. That's what I'm after. Okay, so I think one of the last things I'm going to do for the evening then is I'm going to put some null oil on those leather parts. We've hardly painted anything on the on this gentleman tonight, have we? That's disappointing. I feel like I've been working on this guy forever. He's just been kind of like my go-to, the old go-to project when I'm a bit bored. I want to make something look pretty, and I just want to glaze something for hours. But oh well, oh well. Back into the paint cupboard for a while for you, Nigel Nightbringer. And let's get a bit of null oil on this leather. One of the things I have learned as I've got older and spent more time painting. I say it like I've been painting for years, continuously. I've not at all ever. I had a 20-odd year break from when I got into painting to when I actually started again. But one of the things that I've learnt to do quite recently is using Citadel shade paints, not only as one of my primary painting tools, and actually using them as a paint, but using them to selectively shade. So rather than just dousing everything in shade and then having to re-highlight it, especially with things like leather, I find selectively picking out some areas gives much more variation in tone, dead fast, without much effort, to be honest. And I like that. I like the lack of effort. So we'll come back in tomorrow perhaps, or whenever we paint next, and sort that leather out. Get some micro textures on there. Certainly get away from using the Citadel brushes. And what else are we going to do at the moment? I keep saying I'm going to stop, don't I? And I just keep going. I'm painting a couple of actual black details. Just picking them out ever so carefully. Don't want to undo any of that good work we've already done this evening. So just all we're doing really is tracing, if you think about it. Just stay in the lines and you're good. That's all there is to painting, isn't there, really? It's not rocket science. That's the nice thing about it. It's dead easy. It's only as hard as you need to make it yourself. You can always choose to follow somebody else's recipe. Or you can just freestyle it, go your own, and enjoy the creative process. And, you know, don't stress if the paint goes somewhere it's not supposed to go. Repaint it. That's all you need to do. And I know that's easier said than done. Spent many models. I'm going to use models as a unit of measurement. Getting stressed about, oh my days, the paint's gone somewhere it didn't meant to go. What am I going to do? And now I'm just like, meh. I'll paint it. I'll paint it again. Because there are much more important things to life rather than stressing about where the paint on my little plastic spaceman has gone or not gone. Because I do this to relax, and when it's been stressing, that is not what I want. Now this part's not fun. There we go. That will do. Let's get this little guy here as well. Perhaps he's black as well. Needs to be another black pipe. And that's a black pipe done. It's getting there, guys. It's getting there. Just noticed I've not painted under this shoulder with the red. So let's quickly rectify that. just in case any of that is visible. It's not what you want. Okay, that's done, and what we're gonna get? Let's get a little bit of Warlord pink. Back of the hand it first. Okay. Really need to make that pop somehow. Now, let's quickly get a little bit of Zandra dust. Or whatever this is. Is this Zandra dust? Yes, this is the Citadel Zandra dust. Let's just get inside of this kit based, shall we? And then I think we are actually going to call it a day. Let's not forget the back part here. Wondrous. Nice shots. Okay. Ah, there we go. That's much better. So, what have we got next time? We've got to finish up the red, get all highlighted, and make it look like material. That's going to be a lot of micro texture. So 100% a decent brush for that. Perhaps we will also get the OSL sorted out for the eyes and anything else. Finish up the leather. And just highlight the metal. Get the backpack finished. And crack on with the base that we've ignored as well. We've not really done any work on the base tonight, have we? We've put a wash on it. And I think that was it, wasn't it? We've not really done anything else. That, so there we go. It looks alright. What's going on? Coming on okay, I think. Not too shabby. With his backpack, got quite a bit to do on that, and we can crack on with his axe and make some colour happen. Right, guys, I'm going to call it a day there. So thank you very much for joining me. Hope you have a good evening. Good weekend. What day is it? It's Monday, isn't it? I hope you have a good evening and maybe catch you later in the week. Probably Thursday. If not, new video will be up on Saturday. Sub-assemblies for Space Marines this week. Let me know what you think. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining me. Take care.